The honourable member for Calgary-Edgemont.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Psychoeds are critical. They change lives, they unlock students' potential, and are often the difference between struggling students and thriving students. This is why I introduced Bill 208, the Psychoeducational Assessment Access Act. In less than 24 hours, I have been overwhelmed with support for this bill. So, to the Minister, will the UCP join us and vote in support for Bill 208, a bill Alberta students and teachers desperately need?
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to further debate on the bill on Monday and in subsequent days to be able to explore the merits of the bill in greater detail and additional time to conduct further analysis. Mr. Speaker, we firmly believe that it's critical and essential to ensure that our students receive the support that they need, especially in early years. It's part of the reason why we've mandated literacy and numeracy screening in grades 1 to 3 to ensure that we're assessing all kids and to ensure that they are able to operate at grade level and, of course, are able to provide intervention supports for those students who do need some additional support.
For Calgary-Edgemont.
Given that right now schools have to triage students for funded psychoeds, which leaves most students and families paying out of pocket, and given that psychoeds cost $2,000, $3,000, and even $5,000 here in Alberta, a price that simply is too high for families navigating the UCP's affordability crisis, and given that it is this government's job to fund psychoeds and ensure all children have a learning environment that they can thrive, the minister knows this problem exists and got worse in COVID, so why hasn't the UCP funded it and fixed it? They've had 5 years.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, we absolutely recognize those concerns during COVID, which is precisely why we provided targeted funding to our school boards to ensure that they could conduct psychoed assessments and other assessments to evaluate learning loss. It's part of the reason why we subsequently mandated literacy and numeracy screening and assessments in grades 1 to 3 in order to be able to catch up to some of that learning loss as well. Mr. Speaker, we're continuing to evaluate the supports that our school divisions need. In Budget 23, we provided $121 million over 3 years to help support the growing complexity in our classrooms as well.
Honourable member.
Given that over half of the Alberta teachers do not think that the psychoeducational assessment that they requested will be done within one school year, and given that this leaves students struggling grade after grade with no understanding of why they are facing the problems that they are, and given that this takes a huge toll on their mental health, leaving students with depression, anxiety, and undiagnosed learning disabilities, and given that Bill 208 presents a real solution assessing teacher training, classroom funding, alongside psychoeducational access. Can the minister explain why supporting teachers, students, and parents isn't a priority of this government?
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Well, Mr. Speaker, supporting students and teachers and parents and families is a top priority for the government. We are absolutely committed to doing that. In Budget 23, as I mentioned, we provided $121 million in new funding over the next 3 years. That money is going directly to our school boards so that they can do this important work, so that they can hire psychologists, so that they can hire educational assistants, they can conduct psychoed assessments and other learning assessments that are necessary. In Budget 24, we've also invested $1.2 billion over the next 3 years to help address enrollment growth and pressures that we're seeing in our schools. We're continuing to build schools as well in our growing communities. We will be there for families and students every day, Mr. Speaker.